we're going to test your typing speed. This meeting will now come to order. This is the Vergne Board of Zoning Appeals, May 27, 2014, regular meeting, 5:30 p.m. I see we have a quorum here, and so full attendance, which is good. So we will continue on. The first order of business is that all the members have the meeting minutes of April 29th in front of you. Have you had a chance to go over them?
Mm-hmm. Make a motion to accept as submitted, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. The minutes are approved as presented. We do have 4 items of new business this evening. The first one on the list is a driveway variance requested by Carlson Consulting Engineers, property located at the northeast corner of Murfreesboro Road and Fergus Road, Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, parcel owned by North Star. May we have a report, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. We have Carlson Consulting Engineers here tonight to ask for a variance to allow for a 48-foot wide driveway along Murfreesboro Road at the proposed Walmart Commercial Supercenter. The parcel is zoned C2, and per the municipal zoning ordinance, Article 3.090, access control, vehicular serve uses may be permitted points of access exceeding 30 feet but not exceeding 40 feet in width, provided that they do not exceed 50% of their respective road frontage. The Walmart parcel will have about 400 feet of road frontage once the final plat is approved later today, hopefully. So therefore, they are allowed to have a driveway that's more than 40 if granted by the board, because of their respective road frontage. They have proposed a 48-foot, which is a 4-foot wide, a 4-foot lane, 12-foot each lane of pavement width is 12 feet per our regulations. They prefer to have a 2-way entrance in and a 2-way entrance out, based on the traffic study, which indicates that that will be the most used access point there on Murfreesboro Road. There will be 2 accesses also on Fergus, but the traffic study indicates that the main entrance will be Murfreesboro Road. There are slated to be several out parcels along the front, as well as a fueling station, and then there's also a 4-acre parcel on the corner here that will eventually develop commercially. So they would like to have the 48-foot wide access if the board grants. They've had there's going to be a signal at that location, as well as dedicated turn lanes, and the Board of Zoning Appeals sign's been up for several weeks now, and I have not received any inquiries or comments or concerns regarding the request.
Okay, thank you. Is there a representative here this evening? Would you take the podium, please? Would you raise your right hand, please, and be sworn in? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is J.R. Rohite, Carlson Consulting Engineers, and excuse me. That's 7068 Ledgestone Commons, Bartlett, Tennessee.
Okay. You heard the report that was given to us. Do you have any comments that you want to make in addition to the report?
I do not.
Okay. Do the board members have any questions?
Does the right turn in the lane, does that accommodate for a tractor trailer? The right turn,
Yeah.
Heading towards Nashville, heading north.
Yes, it does. We actually submitted the auto turn sheets that show how a truck would make it through the site. I don't know if that's... But we did make sure that tractor trailers can make it through those radius.
The normal course of day, would the tractor trailer be coming in on that junction or coming out onto Fergus Road?
We do not anticipate tractor trailers coming out onto Fergus Road.
You do not anticipate on Fergus Road?
Not down Fergus Road, no.
Now, the only, the only reason a tractor trailer would go in that entrance that you're proposing widening at that particular entrance would be to bring fuel to the pumps, isn't that right?
To bring fuel to the pumps, and also maybe 1 or 2 trucks a day to bring supplies to the proposed Walmart.
And stock inventory.
Yeah.
Just an observation, I would think that those kind of trucks might come in by Fergus Road because you have the parking lot right behind the pumps there. It would be a pretty hard job for the 18-wheelers to negotiate that parking lot, wouldn't it?
Right, that's why we've run trucks through there to make sure that they can make it.
Any other questions, Grant? Any other board members have any questions? Are any members of the public here that would like to be heard in favor or disagreement with the proposal before the board? Okay, at this time, you may be seated. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to grant the variance.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimously approved. Congratulations. Okay. The second item on the agenda tonight is a setback variance requested by Daniel Benoit. I believe I may have that name wrong. Beg your pardon? All right. Property located at 105 Centennial Drive, medium density residential zoning district, and parcel owned by Daniel. May we have your report, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Benoit was building a covering for his pontoon boat, and he was approached by the codes department and informed that he was building his protective covering in his front yard. So as you can see, Mr. Benoit lives at 105 Centennial, which is this corner here at Centennial and Old Nashville Highway. You can see how he's got a very shallow property, and it's also a corner property. So he doesn't have the backyard that the rest of the rest of his neighbors have. The house was built in the late 60s, and he didn't even acquire it until 2006. So he didn't do anything to create the hardship that he's asking for relief from. You can see his structure here. It's built about 10 feet from the rear property line. Technically, accessory structures they have to be located in the rear yard, which you can see he doesn't really have a rear yard. So he's got a sloping area down towards his neighbor here, and then again we've got the 35-foot setback here and here because of the corner property. He's got a pontoon boat, and he generally comes down Centennial and then backs in this way into his front yard, as that's the safest way for him, according to the way he maneuvers down his street. He's got a fence, a tall wooden privacy fence that runs almost the entirety of his yard. It's just broken except right there. So that being said, he's proposing, with his house being here, looking from Centennial, he's proposing to put the 15 by 30 right here in the corner. And as I mentioned in the report, you can see the top. This is his house. This is where he's proposing to put it. Of course, it's taller than his fence, but the boat would be taller than his fence. You'd be able to see, even if he had the boat in the rear yard, you'd still be able to see it from over his fence. So, and then this is looking from the Big Dubs tire shop across the street, across from Old Nashville. That's looking at his property right there. So, he's asking due to the layout for a variance to be able to utilize the front yard for an accessory structure. And the sign's been up now for probably close to a month, and I haven't received a single phone call.
Oh, okay, thank you. Would you take the podium, please? Would you raise your right hand, please? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. State your name and address for the record, please.
Daniel Benoit, 105 Centennial Drive, Vergne.
Thank you. You heard the report. Do you have any other comments you wish to add?
No, sir, just, I have no backyard is all I can say.
Okay. Any questions by the board members?
It's sort of hard to back that boat in where you got it now, isn't it?
Well,
I know
if
got
you
a
could
fence
go
across
back
there.
to that other one, yeah, the front of the house. What I do is where that second driveway's at, I immediately start pulling in off of the road and pull all the way to the end of my property to get off the road. Otherwise, I'd block the road. And then I'd back directly straight up, so that's kind of the way that's laid
You're
out.
backing across your front yard?
That's correct. I get off the road immediately.
The only question I had when I was out there looking at it, your wife was washing the car when I was out there. The only question I had was if it had something to do with a negligent view of the visibility of the intersection, and I'm satisfied that it does not. It does not bother the visibility. Any other questions by the board members?
Question for staff. If and when we widen on Nashville Highway, how will that impact what he's trying to do here? Because although he's drawn the property line, obviously this is hand drawn, but I'm just real concerned we do go to widen on Nashville, and that's going to impact his positioning as well as the view coming in and out of Centennial.
Mr. Coates, it appears that where he's putting it is about, he's still staying out of the required, at least the 10-foot off the property line, which is required from all, which we require anyway from all, for all accessory structures. Now, I don't know, is this going to be a permanently attached,
If I get rid of the boat, then the structure goes.
I mean, it's something that you'd be able to move,
Yeah.
shift, I mean, it's not permanently anchored with concrete or anything?
No.
Okay. I believe I believe there's enough room, and with it not being a permanent structure, I don't think it would be an issue, but,
So he's not in the easement, he's still on his property.
oh, he's definitely within his property, and he'll be another 10 feet off that line as well.
I located the fence when I put the fence up way off the property line and way back off of Nashville Highway. So when the traffic pulled up there, they have clear view either way.
How much clearance is there between that fence on Old Nashville Highway and the property line?
The fence, I'm going to say at least 14 feet.
It's 14 feet inside the property line?
Inside,
Yeah.
no, it's about 10 foot
10
inside the
feet.
property line.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So there'd be at least 20
Yeah,
feet.
so it'll be about
Yeah.
14 total to the road.
Any other questions?
Nope, that's one question.
Anybody here from the public that wishes to be heard on this item? Apparently not. I'll entertain a motion.
With it not being a permanent structure and not impacting the city at the present time, I make a motion to accept the submitted.
Have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? None. Thank you, sir. Continue on. Items number 3 and 4 are two different items, but they deal with the same property, and I believe the city planner's report will respond to both of these items in the same report. One is, they're both requested by USW local, property located at 209 Hazelwood Lane. One deals with a setback variance, and the other one deals with an accessory structure variance. May we have your report, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. This is on behalf of Mr. James Wall, the USW Local 1055, which is the Steelworkers Union, located at 209 Hazelwood Lane. They have a union hall that's been there since the 70s, and the parcel is actually zoned R1, low-density residential. You can see it right here. And we've got I-2 roughly on 3 sides, and then some vacant residential here. It's just wooded, and then a neighborhood that goes down Hazelwood. So they have proposed to erect 2 open-air wooden pavilions for the purpose of hosting local events, picnics, fundraiser type things at their union hall. And they have asked, they would like to place them also in the front yard, to the right of their existing structure. They've got about 6 acres here, and this is the union hall here. They've got, it's extremely wooded. It's in a very heavily wooded vegetative state, with the exception of the front. They would like to erect them here. It's about 350 feet from the front of the property line to the back of the building. And the 2 open-air wooden pavilions they're proposing one would be 36 by 50 and one is 14 by 20. They have indicated that the front is, it's cleared, it's level, it's easily accessible. As you can see, they're hoping to put them over in this area. So, whereas the rear, as you can see, is also, it's very wooded.
Looking at that picture right
Yes.
there and facing it, from where we're facing it now, you're talking to the right of that building?
Yes,
Okay.
and in fact, that's looking, you can see the hall right here, so we were talking about over this way. You can see it's heavily wooded on this side as well as also the rear, so.
That's the neighbor's house.
I'm further, I'm sorry.
That's the neighbor's house.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see, what else I was going to add to that. They, if they're allowed to place it in the front, in the front yard, excuse me, they'll have it plenty far back from the road and from the property line. Again, if the property to the right ever does develop, it's I-2, so it wouldn't have any bearing on the pavilions. And I believe that's all the information as far as the first one goes,
Okay.
of having it be allowed in the front yard.
Okay. We'll vote on these individually, but you might as well go ahead and give us the report on the second part, too.
Okay.
They're so closely related.
Sure, absolutely. When they came in for a permit for this, they had indicated they wanted to have the 2, and the 2 total it's 1,800 square feet plus another 280, so that comes to about 2,080 square feet. In all districts, the accessory structure square footage is capped at 1,500, so this would be roughly 580 larger than what they're allowed. And they've indicated that they prefer to have the larger space because they frequently host big groups of school children, Boy Scouts, large groups. So they just want to have enough covered space for any of these activities, for weather. And that's
Okay, thank
that.
you. The representative here,
Yes, sir.
would you take the podium, please? Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
James Wall, 200 Sycamore, Savannah, Tennessee.
Okay, are you going to be addressing the board also? Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
State your name and address for the record, please.
John Wright, 231 Annette, Ashland City, Tennessee.
Okay, thank you. You heard the report. Is there anything that you would like to add?
No, sir, not right off. Like I said, we just asking for the extra space because we have the Boy Scouts use our facility on Mondays, and this past Monday that they were there, not Memorial Day, but the past Monday that they were there. We've got 2 picnic tables outside for them, and they were standing up. They had nowhere else to go. There's certain things they do outside. Other than that, they use inside. But any kind of their crafts or anything like that, they do outside.
Okay. Taking a look at the property, which is on this display right now, and the pavilions are going to be to the right as we're looking at the building now, correct?
Yes, sir.
From the rear of the pavilions to the property line, how far is that?
Those lots are 650 foot deep. They run from JFK to Mason.
So my understanding then is that even if something is built over there later on, which would be industrial, is that there's still going to be an appreciable amount of wooded area space between the pavilions and the property line that would remain?
Yes, sir. We still have one lot on the far side, and nobody can build behind us because, like I said, we run all the way to Mason.
Okay. Any questions by the board members?
When you come in the gate there, is the pavilion's gonna be to the right there on that gravel lot?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
When's it gonna be in front of the other one, or when the big one's gonna be in the back?
Basically, gonna be side by side. We've got the smaller one is 14 by 20. That's where we put grills and stuff like that. We have cookouts, and then on the bigger ones where we have the tables and stuff set up. That way you ain't got to deal with the smoke.
How far are they from Hazelwood, these pavilions?
That's gonna be hard. I mean, it's, like I said, the lots, we've got 3 lots 150 foot wide. So the middle lot, right there, when you go in, I say that the big one will probably is gonna be, yeah, it's probably gonna be close to 100, 125 feet.
Mr. Chairman, just make a couple of comments here.
All right.
Been familiar with the property and when they purchased the property. The concern I have is on pavilion, we're listed at number 1, being so close to the potentially anything on the street gives me some concern when they have such a large area to build on. I'm not so concerned about the building number 2, but the building number 1 being so close to the road gives me some concern. I think there's plenty enough space there to position this further back from the road and be more beneficial to all involved.
Well, sir, that road right there, as it shows here on that map, that road does not go back up in the woods. The road stops at our gate.
Yeah.
Makes a 90-degree turn. The smaller pavilion will be to the right-hand side, and it's nowhere near a road. It's woods.
From this dog leg road right there, you're 100 yards or better before the pavilions even start.
And what happens if that road gets extended?
You're still, I mean, this way you're probably what? 30 or 40? Got an old fence there.
It's well within inside the.
We got an old fence
property
about
line.
like his, as
I understand
high as his there.
I understand in the property line. Again, I'm just saying, you come to the planning commission board, and I was familiar with it then, and you bought the property, and the question was asked at that point in time, when you come back to put these buildings in, to make sure you adhere to the ordinance as written, you said you would, and now 2 of these are not, and that gives me some concern.
To a water not, sir. So you're concerned about a road that don't exist? Is that what you're concerned about?
I'm concerned about planning ahead for the future of the city, and I'm just concerned about the pavilion number 1, your smaller one. If we can move that back from the potential road, it'd be more beneficial both for you as well for the people that purchase the land partially.
Okay, it sets, I think there's an old fence that sat there that was 10 foot back, or I think it's actually 20 foot back from our property line, and I think we said we're gonna build it 12 foot back from the fence, so that's 22 or 30 foot away from the property line to begin with. Right?
Any follow-up?
No, I mean, just point ahead that this is a large piece of property, and I think that the pavilion number 1 could be moved to a different location to keep it out and not have the variance.
Is there a possibility to do that?
I mean, I just don't, sir, I don't understand the concern. It's 30 foot away from where a road would ever be built. There's an old fence there. It's 30 foot away. Not 10, not 12, not 14, 30.
Is there anybody from the public that would like to be heard on this issue? Okay, at this point, I'll accept a motion. Is there a motion to approve or disapprove? For the third one. We're talking now, thank you for the clarification there, we're talking about the setback variance right now, not the accessory structure variance.
So you're talking about there on their drawing, number 1 and number 2.
Say again, Graham?
So you're referring to the pavilion on their hand drawing, pavilion number 2, which is the smaller one, closer to the road, or pavilion number 1?
Actually, I'm talking about the setback variance here. They're setting it back far enough, not the fact of the accessory structure, the size of it. We're talking about strictly the setback now. So we're talking about the setback of both. Do I hear a motion to accept or deny on new business item number 3?
I'll make a motion to deny as submitted.
The motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. We'll take a roll call vote. If you vote aye, that means it to be denied. If you vote nay, it's to approve it as is. Graham?
Aye?
Aye.
I vote nay, but the motion carries that to be denied on the setback. I'll take a motion now for new business item 4. Yes.
Chairman, if I may, just simply because it was denied, I know that there were reasons stated prior thereto to vote, but if there are any particular reasons that the board would want to list as to the reason for the denial, they might want to do so.
Actually, we request that, sir.
Okay, actually, if Graham wants to restate it, he can. As I understand it, it's because of the possibility of the road being extended and it not being adequate space from the road to the setback for the
And sir, not to be argumentative, we said it was 30 feet back. That wouldn't be an issue, would it? You're denying us on something that wouldn't even be an issue. It's 10 foot. We're 30 foot. So how can you deny us on something that's not an issue? I don't understand that.
The reason is you're applying for a variance. So this board has a right to say yea or nay. Effectively, we're saying, no, we would disagree with the way you got it laid out. I think if you did some moving of the buildings around, it'd be more beneficial. We could relook at it. But as it's drawn, as you submitted it, it doesn't do as we think it should do.
So if it's 30 feet back, it's not a violation, but you deny it.
No. You're looking for a variance. It's irrespective of the
I understand
footage.
what you're saying.
It's the variance. So at the moment, the variance for the setback variance was denied.
Is there a suggestion you have?
Move the pavilion further away, but obviously...
The smaller one?
The smaller.
Where would you like for it to be moved to?
Well, it's not a way of light. I just need to move it further away for the potentially of taking Hazelwood further down and further away from potentially the road that could go in there. Now, what that dimension is, I don't know what the dimension is because it may not fit the requirement because of the layout of the land.
I mean, we're 30 foot away. I don't...
Well, this board has the authority and the responsibility to approve or deny as submitted, and the board has voted to deny it. What I would suggest to you is to go back to the drawing board and see if you couldn't move it back and then resubmit and come back again.
Or other avenues as well, if we're not in violation. Yes, sir.
whatever action that you deem.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll accept a motion now on new business item 4, the accessory structure variance.
So I'll make a motion to deny as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and we'll take a voice vote on this issue also. Mr. Goodwin?
Aye.
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 And again, I vote nay on that, but it has the majority votes against it, so both petitions are disapproved.
We didn't even have a reason why the other one was disapproved. Didn't even discuss it. No discussion.
There was no discussion, no.
We deny it because of the variance you submitted for. So you've got to look at the application and where you put in your building. So I understand you're giving the numbers of 30 and 20 and 30 feet. What we're saying is you're looking for a variance from our regulations, and you denied that because of the way that they're presently laid out.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
On the first one? Yes, sir.
I would suggest just go back to the drawing board, if you will, if you want to take whatever course of action you deem appropriate, and but we invite you to rethink it, redesign it, and resubmit it for consideration of the board again.
What about the fourth one? What about the other one? Oh, on the first one? On the variance setback, sir?
You can try just changing that back and still bring both of them for discussion again.
So you're saying the second one was denied also?
They were both denied.
Well, why was the second one denied?
Again, because the structure wants to be set back. There's no sense voting on whether it's set back if it's not going to meet the accessory. They're so closely connected that
Yes, sir.
they are connected. One is connected on the size of the pavilion, and the other one is the setback. The setback is the main issue.
But, so you denied the second one off of the setback as well?
That's my understanding. Is that your understanding?
Correct.
I mean, it's 200 yards from the road.
It was denied because they're closely related. It's just, if you're going to build a house, for example, I'm just going to give you an analogy here. If you're going to
Okay.
build a house and you're going to build it a certain way, and you're looking for appeals for both of them, there's no sense talking about how it's going to be built if the location of that building is in violation. They're closely related. One is with the other. If you go back to the drawing board, if you don't want to change anything that has to do with 4, if you want to have the dimensions of the accessory structures remain the same, and you just want to bring it back
So we were denied off of the dimensions, or we were denied off?
They're both closely related. They're both denied. We have the authority to deny it or approve them. They've been denied. What I'm suggesting to you, the easiest course of action for you, is if you want to leave the accessory structure variance dimensions the same, but change the setback of the buildings, then you can come back to this board and we'll discuss both those items again. That's the easiest course of action for you.
And I understand that, sir, but I think that you're missing the point. I'm not looking at the paper, but the larger building, the larger pavilion is setting 200 yards off of the road. It's almost in the quarter part of the property, close to the half mark. How far would we need to set that back even further?
We're not talking about setting back the larger building. We're talking about setting back the smaller pavilion.
Okay, and then the second one is denied. You said it was denied on a setback also, though.
We didn't deny the setback of the buildings individually. We denied the setback of the pavilions. Both of the pavilions are in both item 3 and item 4. They're together, is what I'm saying.
So once they deny one, the other one goes with it too.
Is that what you're saying?
Like I suggested to you, the board suggests to you to resubmit if you so like, but I'm going to close this issue right now.
Oh, can I have one more thing? As you know, Bridgestone, I am the president of the local steelworkers. Bridgestone's the largest employer in this county. The largest employer. And
this board is not discussing the size of the employment.
Yes, sir.
All we're discussing is the
May I please
petition
finish,
that
sir?
was brought before the petition. We are not opposed to Bridgestone hiring as many employees they want.
Yes,
We're
sir.
glad to have the employees in Laverne. We're glad to have all the business in Laverne. Laverne is the fastest growing city, township in the entire state of Tennessee at the present time. And we are just glad to have that situation. We're not voting on any kind of a violation or compromise of that. We're only voting on what you presented right here. And this matter is now closed.
Oh,
I'm sorry, the matter is now closed. Is there any other business to be brought before the board? There being none, this meeting is adjourned.